Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from Chuck, and today we are checking out ranking Dragon Ball Z villains from weakest to strongest. So let's find out who is the weakest Dragon Ball Z villain. And work our way up to the strongest.
For several decades, the Dragon Ball franchise has remained highly popular due to its iconic characters, badass transformations, battle themes, and for the villainous threats that Goku and his friends have had to face off against.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to include the movies as well, because I think on the thumbnail it had Broly in that.
The original Dragon Ball Z anime had wide success with the introduction to Goku's Saiyan heritage and iconic rival Vegeta, his ascendance into becoming a legendary Super Saiyan against the Space Emperor Frieza, to fighting a petri dish composed of his enemies and allies, Cell, and finally unlocking more forms and techniques in hopes of defeating the god-killing
Majin Buu,
known as Majin Buu. And one of the questions that is commonly brought up regarding the movie villains is, which one is the most powerful, or which one is the greatest
that's Super
threat?
13, isn't it?
Like the majority of the fandom, I at one point believed that, well, duh, if character B comes after character A, then logically
they're going to be strong because of the power creeping in Shonen, yeah.
And although that is the case for some of the movie villains, it is not the case for all of them, as I will try to prove in this video.
Interesting.
So to provide a composite overview, I decided to overly analyze the movies, the guidebooks, movie pamphlets,
overly analyze, Jesus, okay.
To try and get to the bottom of this widely controversial topic.
So
Anyways,
controversial.
without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in.
Okay.
First off, I like to make it clear that these movies take place in a different dimension, and although some can fit into the main storyline without trouble, like movie 9, BoJack Unbound, or movie 13, The Wrath of the Dragon, for the most part, they do not inherently have to make sense within the main timeline.
Okay.
To further back this up, when asked regarding his stance on the movies, Akira Toriyama said that he perceived them as being basically side stories that take place in another dimension from the main story.
I like that he's
Some
addressed
movies
that,
are
that's cool.
directly referenced within other movies, but this doesn't inherently mean that all of them have to be connected, which I'll point examples to as we get further into the video. Let's begin with the second movie villain, being Dr. Wheelo from the World's Strongest.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the
appeared
weakest.
shortly after the battle with the Saiyans, given that Goku knows not only the Spirit Bomb, but also the Kaioken technique. As the title infers, Dr. Wheelo wanted to obtain the body of the strongest person in the world, and this set his sights on Goku and his friends.
Of course.
His bio-warriors proved to be a worthwhile challenge as they managed to overwhelm Piccolo and put him under mind control, and their power forced Goku to use Kaioken against him. Once Piccolo was freed, however, the Z-Fighters set their sights on the Brain Mech, who was no longer a man. With a crushingly high power level of 39,000, Dr. Wheelo was able to endure a triple Kamehameha from Goku, Krillin, and Master Roshi, who during this point was able to one-shot 4 Cybermen-esque bots earlier in the movie with power levels of 1,000.
Okay.
Once again, proving that basically these movie characters are more cracked in some ways than the ones from the main timeline. Like in his battle against Vegeta, Goku puts all of his power into a beam clash with Dr. Wheelo, who managed to overpower his Kaioken x3 Kamehameha.
Interesting.
Until Goku amped his power by 4 times, sending the deranged Doctor into space. At this point, Dr. Wheelo abandoned his goal of obtaining Goku's body, powered up even further, and stated that he was gonna blow up the entire planet. Goku then responded by firing up a Genki Dama, which was able to blow away Dr. Wheelo for good.
Bye-bye.
Next up is a competitive playthrough between movie 1's Garlic Jr. and the original Goku Black, the Saiyan warrior Turles. Now please let me explain my reasoning as to why these are actually kind of close. If we're analyzing Garlic Jr. just off of the Dead Zone movie where he got owned by pre-Saiyan Saga characters, well then duh, you can argue that he is the weakest movie villain. But he actually came back much more powerful than ever before in a filler arc that took place several months after the Frieza Saga.
Such a frustrating filler arc as well.
Within the first movie, Garlic Jr. wanted to basically be at the top of the world by distorting Kami's position, and was pretty much the only villain that was actually able to wish for immortality using the Earth's Dragon Balls, which unfortunately did not turn out too well for him. His minions were easily handled by Goku and Piccolo, even after their speed and power increased after taking some demonic steroids, which, by the way, will be very important later on. After Garlic Jr. dominates Kami, Goku and Piccolo are forced to work together against him after he transforms into his gigantic state. They do seem to
It is a cool form. I gotta admit, I do like Garlic Jr.'s transformation.
Garlic Jr. dusted himself off and prepared to launch his devastatingly overpowered black hole attack that sucks up everything.
Into the dead zone.
The void so dark that light cannot penetrate it and numbs one's body and mind. This attack overwhelms the gang as they struggle to hold on for their life. But wouldn't you know, Gohan's rage and rising power allowed him to walk around, negating the effects of the Dead Zone's pull with a marginally powerful
pretty plot armory there.
Gohan was able to push Garlic Jr. into the Dead Zone, trapping him there for years until the Makio planet, or Makio star, came into proximity with the Earth, which, as revealed in the filler in the Dragon Box guidebook, increased Garlic's power by several tens to dozens of times, which allowed him to escape his own prison and challenge the Earth's
heroes once
more in Goku's absence. In his quest, Garlic Jr. was joined by 4 demonic monarchs, which were actually very powerful in their own right, as even prior to their power-ups, they managed to heavily damage Krillin, who during this point would easily be able to clap most of the Ginyu Force.
Yeah, true, actually.
As the Makio star further approaches
pretty much
Earth,
up there now,
2 of the formerly defeated kings rise up and state that their power increased by several times. Likely dozens of times as stated in an earlier episode, and on top of that, they transformed into their buffed up states. If these guys have a power level of bare minimum, say 30,000, which was the power level that Vegeta had in his battle against Recoome, and their power got amplified by 30 to 96 times, dozens of times, if not more, they would be within the threshold of at least 2nd and 3rd form Frieza. Which is not very crazy to think about, because this Gohan not only received numerous Zenkais and trained after fighting Frieza, but he had to become enraged to kill the minions. And at one point, one of the henchmen literally caught one of Krillin's Destructo Discs without injury, which if you recall, 2nd form Frieza pushing his pants.
Yeah, he was running away from that. Wow. Okay, that's cool. Not many people can do that.
Garlic Jr. unleashes his Dead Zone, which was countered by Gohan charging up even more energy and destroying the Makio world, crippling Garlic Jr.'s control over the Dead Zone and leaving him trapped there forever.
Bye again.
Although Garlic Jr. was powerful, Piccolo and Gohan would have been able to defeat him much easier if Piccolo's power wasn't nerfed nearly the whole battle, due to Kami's soul being hindered in his quest to purify the Earth's inhabitants from the mist, and if Garlic Jr. didn't have his immortality, since Piccolo and Gohan overwhelmed
big deal being immortal, like,
Regardless, Garlic Jr. at his best is easily a threat that the lower forms of Frieza would have to fear, and his minions were easily beyond the Ginyu Force as well.
So Turles?
Alrighty, now let's move on to Turles, the rogue Saiyan who planned to use the Earth to grow the marvelous Tree of Might.
The Tree of
A
Might.
divine tree that sucks the life force of a planet to cultivate a fruit so precious that only Kamis are allowed to eat them. Although a movie pamphlet states that Turles' power level was a measly 19,000, he was likely far stronger, as he was able to react to an angered Goku's attacks, whose power level was at least
30,000. Oh, okay, bloody hell.
He was also able to dominate Piccolo and withstand his special beam cannon at point blank. His squadron wasn't too shabby either, although they failed to defeat Goku in a 1-on-5 situation. They were able to dominate Krillin and the rest of the Z fighters. However, given that Turles felt the need to take a bite of the fruit to contend with Kakarot, this infers that his base is well below 30,000 and at minimum makes him weaker than Dr. Lilo. But the thing that keeps Turles from the very bottom
is
are
the boost he got
power
from
boosts that he obtained from the Tree of Might. From just one bite, he obtained at least a 10 times boost, since even Kaioken times 10 Goku was unable to keep up with him, let alone damage him. After nearly cementing his victory over the Earth and countering a weak-ass Spirit Bomb, Turles consumes majority of another fruit, which is very important because of just one bite gave him a 10 times boost.
Eating the whole thing.
It's likely that eating more of it would grant him an even bigger boost and allow him to surpass Garlic's power. But to reduce as much headcanon as possible, we'll say that he at least had a power level of over 3 million during this point, which would allow him to overcome Frieza's lower forms. Unfortunately for Turles, the plot had to guarantee that a Goku won in some way, so he obtains the energy from the tree itself and launches a Spirit Bomb so powerful that destroys Turles along with the tree, restoring the Earth's greenery and well-being in the end.
Yay!
Overall, Turles was a very imposing threat with a brutal fighting style, but why is he ranked alongside Garlic Jr.? Going by the aforementioned multipliers, Turles and Garlic Jr. are quite comparable at their best, with Turles likely having a raw power and speed advantage due to Garlic's giant form, but with Garlic Jr. having a slight edge due to his immortality.
Immortality is a big deal,
You can even argue that Garlic Jr. is massively above many of the other villains on this list, given that in the Daizenshu, his attack, the Dead Zone, is called a hyper or super space, which, going by some definitions, implies that this black hole is a 4D space and would automatically place Garlic Jr. in the universal ranges of power.
Oh God, wow.
And given that he broke out of the dead zone through his own power, would clearly bump up his placement. But I think that if I were to gauge him solely through his showings and not including the dead zone, he would place around here. However, even if we were to use the hyperspace stuff, it wouldn't really place him at the top, given that other characters either have better feats or statements, but I can certainly see Garlic Jr. in a higher spot than this, depending on the arguments. Regardless, both Turles and Garlic Jr. should be able to rival the lower forms of Frieza, and due to his immortality, I'd give Garlic Jr. the slight edge over Turles. But I can see them being interchangeable. Next on the list is the Galactic Conqueror, Lord Slug, the evil Super Namekian that made a career out of subjugating planets and was stated as being such a large threat that Frieza, and not even a Super Saiyan, could stand up to him. Before landing on Earth, Slug's ship comes in such a close proximity to the Earth that Goku and Krillin charge a Kamehameha in attempts of steering it off course, which fails and knocks him out. After establishing a dominion over the populace, Slug orders his henchmen to find the Dragon Balls in order to wish for his youth when he was
I want to be a young boy.
Once Slug shows up to fight, Goku states that his energy feels different from anyone he had ever faced before, which would include Turles and Frieza.
I mean,
whether
keep
Goku
them
is
all in the same
referring
thing,
to full power Frieza is unknown, but it is also possible that Goku isn't necessarily referring to power, given that Lord Slug is regarded as being more vile and evil than even King Piccolo.
Damn.
The restored Slug then manages to pimp slap Goku so hard to the point that he doesn't even acknowledge the Kaioken as being a plausible win option. At that moment, as he says that even though he had been training, that Slug was just on a whole other level, and he wanted to use the Spirit Bomb right away, inferring that the Kaioken wouldn't have had an effect.
Wouldn't have done anything,
Given the crazy situation, Goku unleashes his anger and tenacity
and
transforms
Super
into
Saiyan.
the Pseudo Super Saiyan, a cryptic form that has been coined as the full Super Saiyan state, which allowed Goku to overwhelm and shock Slug as he broke his hand and forced him to unleash his true power by becoming gigantic. Now this is where it gets spicy. Once Goku thrashes Slug's ass around, King Kai is surprised and theorizes if that form represents the legendary power of a Super Saiyan, implying that he had never seen this form before, and that Goku managed to defeat Frieza without using Super Saiyan. Once Slug becomes very big, King Kai tells Goku that he believes that due to Slug's Super Namekian status, that Frieza and perhaps even a Super Saiyan cannot defeat him. Then, Goku offers a valiant effort and likely receives a Zenkai boost due to enduring a point-blank attack from this gigantic Slug and staggering him with his energy attacks, despite the fact that he got pretty much slapped by Slug in his base state earlier. It seemed that Slug had won over the Earth if it wasn't for the Namekians finding human whistling irritating and therefore being a weakness. After Slug was hindered by Gohan's annoying-ass song, Piccolo manages to donate his power to Goku, amping him so much that he was able to blast through Slug with a Kaioken times 100, as revealed in the 1991 Weekly Jump issue, which would make sense given that even the power of a pseudo Super Saiyan was clearly not enough to defeat him. Hell, even after Slug got a hole punched through him, he chased Goku into the heavens, where he was stunned by base Goku's power, and as a result, bought Goku enough time to charge a Spirit Bomb using the sun, which ended the Leviathan's assault once and for all.
Bye-bye.
Granted, the Spirit Bomb that was used against his heavily damaged Slug was much smaller than the one that was used against Frieza, but going by King Kai's belief that neither the Space Emperor or Goku's Super Saiyan state could seal the deal, and since Goku didn't even consider the Kaioken and jumped straight to the Spirit Bomb as a solution, I think it is very likely that Lord Slug is easily powerful enough to surpass, if not at least rival, full power Super Saiyan Goku and Frieza.
It's really weird, isn't it? Like that,
in fact, the aforementioned 1991 Weekly Jump issue
to say Super Saiyan isn't
very well
strong enough, but then he uses the false Super Saiyan form, and it's like...
You may have already guessed it, but yeah, next up on the list is Frieza's cooler-looking brother, Cooler, who came to the Earth
Cooler-looking brother.
Frieza's demise against Goku. This movie also takes place after Goku defeated Frieza and has been training his ass off since then, which is very well portrayed in this film due to Cooler's praise for the Earthling Saiyan before he even showcases his true power. In attempts to cripple Goku's spirits, Cooler arrived with his armored squadron and attempted to kill Gohan with a powerful beam, which Goku managed to block with his body, and even while being heavily damaged, he managed to retaliate with his own powerful attack.
Yeah, he did.
Cooler is so impressed by this showing that just from that, he finds it believable that Goku defeated his brother.
I can believe that now.
It is even further implied by Cooler that base Goku during this movie was powerful enough to defeat, if not at least contend with Frieza's final form, due to not only the aforementioned praise, but when Goku recovers from his injury after being given a Senzu bean, Cooler says that he was curious about Goku's Super Saiyan power and status. Even with this confidence, Cooler was overwhelmed by base Goku in their underwater battle.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's like,
surfaced,
all it takes is him to go Super Saiyan to beat him, isn't it? It's like, oh.
Brother, which forced him into unleashing his final form, a state beyond what Frieza was capable of. This badass transformation allowed this previously overwhelmed Cooler to dominate Goku to the point that the Kaioken was a joke to him, and he even surfed through a Kaioken Kamehameha without injury. However, once Goku transformed into a Super Saiyan, which he needed a trigger for, Cooler infers that that is how Goku was able to defeat his brother. But given the numerous appraisals that Cooler gives base Goku, I think it is more likely that this base Goku at least could have given Final Form Frieza a run for his money. Sure, Cooler could have been demeaning his brother's power, given his negative sentiment towards him, but he realized that to defeat Goku, he needed to unleash a greater transformation and try to avoid being defeated in the same way, inferring that his base at full power wouldn't have been enough. Cooler was clearly outmatched by Super Saiyan Goku, but his gigantic supernova made Goku struggle and forced him to put a great amount of effort into blasting it back at him. And in combination with his own attack and Goku's Kamehameha, Cooler was mostly vaporized once he met the heat of the sun. But wouldn't you know, this would not end up killing Cooler.
What? What? No way.
Damn, the Frieza family really is hard to kill.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, I was at a crossroad regarding Lord Slug and Cooler because although the base Goku that fought Cooler was implied to be Final Form Frieza tier, the Goku that fought Slug unleashed a Kaioken multiplier twice that of Super Saiyan, and even then, a Spirit Bomb was needed to put down the Green Titan.
Okay, yeah.
Basically, you have a Goku with a weaker base form, or greater multipliers, and on the other hand, you have a Goku with a stronger base form, but with lower multipliers. Both of these Gokus also got Zenkai.
It's really hard to do all this with the movies,
man. Although I find Cooler more likely to be superior, I think a case can be made for Slug being comparable due to the narrative implication that Frieza and not even a Super Saiyan could defeat him.
Yeah.
Since both of these threats are narratively superior to Frieza, you can argue that they are interchangeable at worst.
Okay.
The next big threat that the Z-Fighters were encountered were not the androids, but mechanized tools of destruction that attempted to subjugate the peaceful Namekians on planet Namek, which was restored thanks to Shenron. Once Goku and the gang arrived to Namek, they were met with a robotic army led by none other than the Teal, clean as metallic
so
finish,
cool. Cooler's like forms are just
managed to barely survive his battle with Goku and combined with the Big Gate Star in order to facilitate his galactic conquest. And fun fact, the Big Gate Star is referenced in guidebooks as having an infinite power engine.
Damn.
More on that later. At first, Goku is confident enough to duke it out against Metacooler and base and even clashes with him several times until he deems it necessary to amplify his power with the Crimson Kaioken. But despite Goku's power gain from the last movie, Cooler just no-sells his strikes with confidence. By far, one of the best speed feats in all of Dragon Ball, including the video games, is Metacooler being able to move, track, and attack Goku in the middle of instant transmission.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, instant transmission is teleportation, but Cooler and Goku were actively able to fight in the middle of these movements.
That's mad. That is actually mad.
Reaction and combat speed feat. We will also come back to the speed feat later on.
That's really interesting.
As Goku finds his attacks and techniques futile, he unleashes his Golden Glow of Super Saiyan and forces Metacooler to try harder, which was bad news for Goku, as Cooler eventually dominates him, accurately blocks and dodges majority of his attacks, and attempts to choke his ass out until Vegeta comes to the rescue and admits that he is not there to help Kakarot. What a tsundere. Even after Super Saiyan Vegeta comes to help out, Metacooler brushes off their attacks, hits Vegeta in the and even manages to heavily wound them to the point that Goku says that the only way they can beat him is by combining their maximum power and blasting to smithereens before he can regenerate, which heavily exhausts him. I think it is very likely that Vegeta and Goku obtained a Zenkai after their initial battle with Cooler, because as he was tapping their energy to fuel the Big Gate Star, the computer freaked out and determined that Goku had too much energy to give and was basically overloading the systems.
It's too much, turn it off!
Which in turn allows Goku to break free and destroy Cooler's original body with a small ki blast once and for all, destroying the Big Gate Star's clutch on Namek in the process. As I mentioned earlier, it is said in the guidebooks that the Big Gate Star had an infinite power engine, and that it was overloaded by Goku's infinite, boundless power.
Wow.
Meaning that Goku got a massive amp and in effect can be argued to have infinite 3D power. Although granted, one can argue that it is a hyperbole. Regardless, if the Big Gate Star can make hundreds if not up to billions of Metacoolers as implied by the Japanese title of the movie, it is absolutely insane that Goku's power was able to overload such a powerful engine.
Yeah, that's crazy.
After Dr. Gero was killed off by Android 17, the same way he was killed in the mainline series, his computer used his hatred for Goku to fuel the creation of a new mechanical terror trio. These were known as Androids 13, 14, and 15. Although the android's full power eventually pushes Goku and the others to transform into Super Saiyans to give the audience a light show. Androids 14 and 15 still found it pretty difficult to put down base Trunks and base Vegeta, and got pretty much modernized after they traded final blows.
But Super Android 13, my god.
Exhaustion, but still having enough power to fight later on. Android 13 is clearly the strongest of the three, not only due to him being the established leader, but also since he pushed base Goku to be more serious against him than he was against the other two androids. After his comrades were defeated, Android 13 is happy, and the Z fighters basically stood around like idiots and let Android 13 multiply his power greatly by fusing with the remains of the two androids and becoming a blue-skinned, red-haired terror, which proved to be quite a dangerous opponent. Super Saiyan Vegeta, Trunks, Goku, and even the Super Namekian Piccolo were unable to overwhelm the beast or even make him budge. With Super Android 13 no-selling their punches and kicks and casually
not doing anything,
around,
it's just like, right.
He also did one of the worst things that you can do in a fight and decided to punch Goku in the Dragon Balls and then basically beat the hell out of him. This beatdown then forced Goku to resort to his ultimate attack, a large spirit bomb, which he absorbed into himself and got really, really powerful.
Damn.
By using the energy from the Earth, Goku accumulated so much energy that just by being near him, Super Android 13's body dissolved, and with an angry-ass punch, Goku managed to pierce through his body and vaporized him, putting an end to Dr. Gero's schemes. Although Super Android 13 is implied to be a much stronger villain than Metacooler due to him appearing afterwards and fighting more Super Saiyan tier fighters, I still argue that Metacooler is more impressive given that he has a much better speed feat,
such amazing,
is a much better fighter, given that in a one-on-one fight, he blocked Goku's attacks pretty cleanly, while Super Android 13, although he didn't really need to block it, let a lot of attacks hit him head-on. Okay, so this is where it gets complicated because according to the guidebooks, the Z fighters that fought Android 13 had infinite power, and like I mentioned earlier, the Big Gate Star's engine was overloaded by Goku's infinite boundless power. Again, you can think of the statements as being hyperboles and like blank basically, but even if we take them at face value and say that both Android 13 and Cooler had infinite power, Cooler still had the better speed feat, so that is why I would place him above Android 13 overall.
Interesting.
Then again, you can argue that Android 13 is much stronger, regardless due to Takao Koyama's statement that, prior to Broly at least, the villains had to be stronger than the last one. And more on Koyama's statement later. Alrighty, now we get to the big leagues. This is where the power scaling in the Dragon Ball Z movies undoubtedly escalate beyond what the mainline series villains presented within the same era. The Cell Games era includes three titanic powerhouses. The legendary Super Saiyan Broly, Hachiyak, the super tough mechanization fueled by the hatred against the Saiyans, and the space pirate Bojack. Let's begin with the weakest of the three, who is very likely Bojack. Yes, he appeared in a film after Broly, and going by Takao Koyama's statement, you could interpret that as him being stronger than movie 8 Broly. And he did fight post-Cell Games characters, but I don't really find him impressive compared to the other two, and here's why. Bojack and his pirate gang are stated by King Kai to have threatened to destroy galaxies long ago, but they don't really say, like, if it would be instant or, like, over time, but it would have likely been an over time thing, and not straight up massive galaxy scale damage like with Broly,
just straight away.
Later into. His power is also not that impressive, given that somehow and unexplainably, the four Kais were able to come together and seal them into a planet. This could mean two things: that the Kais in this timeline are just cracked, or that Bojack was a pushover back in the day and maybe trained while he was imprisoned. Really, the only thing that he has going for him is that the guidebooks do say that he has an evil that can shake a galaxy or galaxies, but being able to shake galaxies, even if we take it at face value, is clearly not as impressive as having infinite power, as we have seen with Metacooler and Android 13. Then again, Bojack is not too shabby, as he was able to take care of Trunks, Vegeta, and Piccolo. Eventually, all hope for the Earth seems lost, as everyone gets their ass beat pretty much, except for Gohan, who was the last one standing. But even after Gohan got really angry and was, whooping some ass, he forced Bojack and his henchmen to basically gang up on him.
Yeah, it takes them all at the same time.
It is very likely that Gohan would have died if it wasn't for Goku giving the middle finger to the rules of the afterlife and teleporting to punch Bojack in the face.
So dumb.
Granted, no one would have guessed that Goku would have done such a thing, but in my book anyways, Bojack being unable to react to instant transmission gives him slower reaction time than Metacooler on paper.
There you go.
Another reason I'd have him below Broly and Hachiyak is due to the fact that he never really had to fight multiple fighters at once, since his minions were basically riding his ass the whole fight, while Hachiyak and Broly both fought like 4 to 5 people at the same time, so yeah. I'd say that generally, due to Metacooler's speed and the aforementioned infinite power statements for him and Android 13, they would have more credence to being more powerful than Bojack, but I'll let you guys decide on that.
Okay.
Broly, a movie villain so popular that he not only appeared 3 times in the original Dragon Ball Z run, but he managed to emerge in canonization to face off against Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. Born with an overwhelming power level of 10,000, Broly was seen as being a potentially great asset to the Saiyans, but at the same time, King Vegeta believed that he would be too dangerous and powerful, and wouldn't you know, he was right.
He was correct,
After surviving the destruction of planet Vegeta, he and his father Paragus would subjugate the cosmos for decades, until they would eventually enact the revenge of Prince Vegeta and the annoying-ass Kakarot. Even as a restricted Super Saiyan that was under mind control and basically happily suppressed, Broly was able to destroy a massive portion of the South Galaxy, which is not a singular galaxy. Some of you that have seen this channel for a while and that know about Dragon Ball Z may already know this, but let me shock some of you here, because the term South Galaxy actually refers to the south quadrant of galaxies in the universe, i.e., it is a massive cluster of galaxies. Broly didn't destroy all of it, but at the very least, that would grant him multi-solar systems and galactic levels of power, which is very well beyond what the mainline series Cell was capable of. And the crazy part is, this restrained Broly wasn't able to push Goku into unleashing his own Super Saiyan form until he exploded with power and became the legendary Super Saiyan. A form so legendary that even the Super Saiyan of Legend, which wasn't really that
great, a lot of legends being thrown around here,
was nothing in comparison. This is also one of the very few times that Vegeta acts like a little
he does. So weird.
Down before he even tries
it's like, no, we've got no chance.
One main reason as to why Broly is clearly superior to Bojack, apart from the aforementioned feat, is due to the fact that even before he acquired more power, due to his overflowing ki, he took on and slapped around 3 Super Saiyans, and even stood around with a 80 grin on his face, while Goku and Piccolo pounded the hell out of him, all while receiving no damage or discomfort. At first glance, Broly may give the impression that he is a mindless idiot in battle, and slow
he's quite clever.
Muscle mass, which comes with a similarly looking Super Saiyan Grade 3. But he manages to counterattack his opposite openings, even when surrounded by 3 opponents.
Yeah, like he knows what he's doing.
He even finesses the hell out of Piccolo, who is regarded as being one of the smartest mofos in the franchise, by forcing him to fly towards him, and responds by quickly changing direction to headbutt his charge, which stuns him and allows Broly to kick him away.
So cool.
So hey, Broly is not just a powerhouse, he actually knows how to fight.
Yeah.
For all of this power though, Broly did have one crazy weakness, being that his own body cannot maintain his overflowing energy for long, so he has to continuously release it to avoid exploding. Even after Goku, Trunks, and Gohan likely receive a Zenkai boost after being fed sensu beans, Broly still slaps them around.
Still goes at them, yeah.
Vegeta, with Goku being the last one standing. Legendary Super Saiyan Broly is such an overwhelming threat that it is stated numerous times that he would undoubtedly destroy
everything
the universe
will be
if he
destroyed.
was not stopped then and there. Now, this doesn't mean that he is like an universe buster and is gonna one-shot the universe, but given that even while restrained and mind-controlled, he wiped out a quadrant of galaxies, it is not far-fetched to say that given enough time, he would have been able to wipe out all of the matter in the infinite, endless universe, which is what Fat Buu and Kid Buu were capable of doing as well. Luckily, using the energy from his friends, Goku was able to muster up enough power to overwhelm Broly and land a critical hit on his abdomen, seemingly ending his quest for universal domination. Yeah, the plot demanded that Goku won in some way, but as we have learned from the Genki Dama and the Lord Slug film, donating power to an ally or absorbing power
big
from a planet
bloody boost,
grants
like.
the user a dramatic energy influx.
It's huge.
So if Goku, with the power of a weakened Piccolo, was able to overwhelm a giant slug that was superior to Goku's Pseudo Super Saiyan state, just imagine the boost that he would have gotten from absorbing the power of 4 characters stronger than that. In fact, it is mentioned in guidebooks that Goku received a 1000 ki boost thanks to his friends and courage, which is not exclusive to the Broly film, but it does give us some explanation as to why Goku was able to clutch up so many battles, and this would infer that Goku got a 1000 times ki boost to wipe out Broly, which is really insane if you want to take it at face value. To further prove that Broly would be capable of such an universal destruction feat, the guidebooks mention several times that Broly had bottomless and infinite power. So even if we argued that Metacooler also has infinite power, Broly has more statements and better feats. Plus, being able to wipe out the universe within the short lifespan of a Saiyan in comparison to a Majin or a Frost Demon, Broly would logically have to be massively faster than light to perform the feat, and should logically have comparable if not greater speed than Metacooler, especially if he is able to wipe out everything in the infinite universe within his lifetime. Even if we argued that Metacooler has superior speed, Broly would still have the much greater attack potency and durability. So, although I can see arguments being made for Metacooler due to his greater stamina and better fighting techniques, arguably. Additionally, even if one was to reach and put Metacooler above Movie 8 Broly, it wouldn't matter since Broly has 2 stronger iterations as well. And another guidebook even further confirms that he was the most powerful warrior, capable of destroying the South Galaxy. And hell, even after being fatally wounded, Broly managed to evade death, found a spaceship, and eventually crash landed on the Earth, where he would remain in a healing hibernation for about 7 years, which we will come back to. Yeah, that is right, Broly doesn't really rank here. This is only a specific ranking for Movie 8 Broly. Now, which character could possibly be above Movie 8 Broly? Well, that honor goes to Hachiyak from the OVA, the plan to eradicate the Saiyans. Although it was not released in theaters and it isn't really a movie, it was a supplement to the video game of the same name and was later re-released and touched up on as a supplement to one of the greatest Dragon Ball Z games of all time, Raging Blast 2.
Raging Blast 2. Never played it, but it does look
the original
cool.
OVA do have some differences or omit some scenes entirely, but I will touch up on the general consensus that they showcase. Hachiyak was born as a result of Dr. Raichi, a Tuffle scientist who wanted to get revenge for the Saiyans, exterminating his people and taking over his home planet. The Tuffle android became fueled over the decades and grew stronger as a result of the hatred that other beings also had for the monkeys. One of his plans was to use the Death Strong gas, which diminishes ki control and would have killed off everything on Earth if it was not neutralized thanks to Goku, his friends, and especially Bulma. After destroying a lot of them, the last of the gas machines was being guarded by 4 ghost warriors, the manifestations of Turles, Frieza, Cooler, and Lord Slug.
So
they not only proved to be more powerful than their original selves, but they could regenerate and became stronger after being defeated. But after the Z-Fighters realized that they weren't real, they were solidly defeated. In order to defeat Hachiyak, the group made their way to the Dark Planet at the end of the universe, and after Dr. Raichi's ghost was defeated, his hate further amplified the Hachiyak computer to the point that it went beyond its limit and sprouted the real Hachiyak, who just by appearing seemed to have warped a galaxy, and King Kai stated that if he was allowed to roam free, he would have been able to lay waste to the universe. Hachiyak radiated such big energy that he rushed all 5 fighters and knocked them all away with one strike. His powerful Revenge Cannon knocked out Super Vegeta after rendering a final flash without injury, and by charging his energy for a few seconds, he was able to amplify his speed to the point that he blitzed Trunks and Gohan. After dominating them, Goku remarks that Hachiyak might be stronger than Broly.
He actually says it,
backed up by King Kai's earlier statement that his ki was superior to anything he had ever felt before, even prior to him actively fighting.
A common thing that people say, though, within these shows as they go on.
He certainly had more power and durability than Broly, but he did have a critical weakness. That being that he is pretty defenseless and has openings whenever he is charging his energy, which Goku and his friends used to their advantage in the battle. And the Saiyans even got a Zenkai boost on top of it since they were given Senzu beans by Piccolo. But all in all, the Crimson Tuffle proved to be such an overwhelming threat that forced the fighters to fire their ultimate attacks to finish him off in one fell swoop.
Damn, all at the same time.
Given that movie age Broly is stated to have bottomless and infinite power, and Hachiyak is stronger than him, he would also scale from these statements and his speed to perform the aforementioned Universal Destruction feat. But unfortunately for the Crimson Saiyan Destructor, he is not quite on par with the later iterations of the legendary Super Saiyan. Alrighty, now we get to the final Dragon Ball Z movie villain, the notorious and gigantic Hirudegarn. Planet Konots, and had to be sealed away into Tapion and his brother after being
Bring this villain into the super universe. Pretty cool. Have Broly fight it.
After Hoi, an ancient warlock, tricked the Z fighters into releasing him, Hirudegarn laid waste to the city and beat the out of Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks.
Knocks them out of the transformation,
Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, and even Super Saiyan 2 Goku himself once he unleashed his true winged form. At first glance, Hirudegarn might seem like the strongest out of all of the movie villains, given that he fought all of the post-Buu Saga Z fighters at the same time, and finessed them thanks to his movement and ability to absorb ki from his victims. Unfortunately for the Big Goliath, he was utterly destroyed by the Golden Ki Dragon, the legendary Dragon Fist that was unleashed by Super Saiyan 3 Goku after he figured out his weakness.
Janemba's got to be on this list, though. I just remember Janemba as a villain. That must be higher than
Although the
this.
statement is no longer up, at least to my knowledge, and you can argue that it is no longer applicable, there was a statement back in the day on the Toei website that since Hirudegarn lost to Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Janemba slapped Super Saiyan 3 Goku, that this would put him in the number 2 spot amongst the movie villains. And I mean, the guidebooks do refer that he was like a threat to the universe, and the movie says so as well. But if you want to take Koyama's statement at heart that the later villain had to be stronger than the earlier ones, then Hirudegarn would be the strongest movie villain. However, there are much better things for Broly and Janemba, as I will prove later on. And unfortunately, there aren't any crazy statements for Hirudegarn, apart from being able to lay waste to the universe in an unspecified amount of time, which isn't that impressive, given that other movie villains have had statements that they would destroy or would eventually conquer the universe. Really, the only reason I have him above the others, really, is due to the aforementioned statement. Without it, though, I would have probably placed Hachiyak and Movie 8 Broly above him. Undoubtedly, the 2 strongest movie villains are for sure Broly and Janemba, and to be honest, I think they both have enough credence to be top dog. I'll discuss my reasoning for who I have over the other, but let's quickly go over the accolades for both characters. For one, once Broly came back in the Second Coming, and just unrestrained Super Saiyan, he was confirmed to be stronger than ever before, as he not only slapped the out of Super Saiyan Goten, Super Saiyan Trunks, and Videl, but he also gave Gohan a very tough fight and would have killed him if it wasn't for the final beam clash that Goku himself had to step into. Well, it is really unclear if Goku was truly there to begin with, or if it was just like a wish granted by the Dragon Balls, but it is implied in the guidebooks that Goku was indeed there to assist his sons with the Father-Son Kamehameha, which blasted Broly into the sun and killed him then and there. However, after some scientists got a hold of his blood, Broly was revived and enhanced through biomechanical means and became Bio Broly, stronger and more dreadful than ever before, which is further confirmed by the guidebooks and the DVD box. However, what ultimately hindered Bio Broly was a culture fluid goop, or coom, that engulfed him and made him susceptible to seawater, which was a major plot point for Goten, Trunks, and Krillin to being able to defeat him. I know it's hard to believe, but yes, even this aberration of a villain is stronger than Movie 10 Broly, because baseline, he is a revived Broly, further enhanced by biotechnology. So it would be quite illogical to say that this Broly is
weaker. Yeah.
You could argue that movie 10 Broly, despite being weaker, would be superior to the culture fluid and Bio Broly due to his greater speed, intellect, and experience. But if you want to be super technical, the Broly that we saw in the test tube would be undoubtedly the strongest iteration of Broly that we ever saw. Other stuff that would solidify Broly's top dog placement is that Koyama stated that he couldn't think of anyone stronger than Broly, which is why he had him appear 3 times.
Right, that's quite funny.
On top of that, during a Battle of Gods interview, Koyama further assured that he viewed Broly as the strongest, most scary villain, and that he was only surpassed by Beerus' appearance. Additionally, when other staff members talked about Broly, they always mentioned how intimidating and strong he was. In the second to last movie, Fusion Reborn, Janemba is born thanks to evil ki spilling out into an ogre that was messing around on the job, and as soon as he appeared, he basically warped the entire afterlife and prevented King Yama from carrying out his duties, which in turn destabilized the mortal realm and the afterlife and allowed the dead to invade the earth. Fusion Reborn is a heated topic for one specific reason, given that narratively speaking, almost every previous villain had come back, as we have seen with Cooler Squadron, Bojack, Paragus, Garlic Jr.'s goons, Turles and Lord Slug's teams, and much more within the movie and the promotional material. With Paragus' existence, you can argue that Broly exists within this dimension, but even if he did, it wouldn't automatically mean it's the same exact one that appeared in the previous movies. Although something interesting to note is that at the end credits of movie 12, we do see a scene of movie 8 traveling through the cosmos. So you could infer at least that movie 8 is within this iteration, and maybe not movie 10 and 11, but I'll let you guys decide on that.
Too confusing.
My ultimatum on that. Janemba has insane accolades because in his base form alone, which surpassed Majin Buu's power, he was able to warp the entire afterlife passively, which is a higher dimensional realm, arguably making it a 4D, arguably a 5th dimensional feat if you want to incorporate a temporal dimension. This is insane given that the afterlife is several times larger than heaven, which is as wide as the infinite living universe, and to make Janemba's feats even more insane, he was able to keep up with Super Saiyan 2 Goku, who in base alone was able to cross from the afterlife to hell in a few moments, unironically giving Janemba high infinite speed, arguably then giving base Janemba greater speed than even Broly. However, due to his reality warping that allowed him to create
so weird, the way you could just travel through stuff like that.
He pushed Goku into unleashing the afterlife-shaking power of Super Saiyan 3, who quickly made work of him with a devastating ki wave. Unfortunately, this demon would come back stronger than ever before and became Super Janemba, complete with teleportation, who even while suppressed, was able to make quick work of Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, which in turn forced the two Saiyans to fuse into Gogeta, who with his Stardust Breaker and a combination of fancy kicks, nullified his existence, ending the macroversal threat once and for all. Although Janemba does not really scale to Super Gogeta, it is worthy to mention that Gogeta was called the strongest, most unrivaled power to ever appear in the guidebooks, complete with unlimited infinite power as well.
Everyone's got unlimited power.
Given that Gogeta transformed into a Super Saiyan, this leads me to believe that Janemba was at least above base Gogeta and would still scale massively above Super Saiyan 3 Goku, making him at minimum over 400 times baseline infinite speed. In regards to fusion, Toriyama originally viewed Super Saiyans as being the strongest thing in the series, but was told that there would be no choice but to have them fuse to further escalate the power cliffing. So if you want to go through this line of thought, Broly, despite being overwhelmingly powerful in concept, would be weaker than two Super Saiyans fusioning. But then again, you can argue that Goku performed fusion in a way anyways with the Z Fighters in movie 8 to defeat Broly. It really depends on how you interpret it. To further solidify Janemba's top dog placement, the movie 12 Jump anime book mentions that Janemba was Goku's greatest opponent and that he had an unprecedented power, unprecedented being a synonym for unparalleled, unequal, or unrivaled, inferring that even as strong as Broly was, Janemba's power was without equal. It also mentions that Janemba was the most powerful warrior and enemy of Goku. Personally, I don't see the point in scaling Janemba to the other villains that appeared in the film, since he already has enough accolades that put him in conversation for being as strong as Broly, if not even stronger. Combine that with the aforementioned Toei statement that Janemba was the strongest movie villain, and I would have to say that although Broly has a strong argument for being number 1, I'd have to generally give the strongest movie villain spot to Janemba.
Yeah.
Although you can argue that Broly is indeed the strongest of them all, going by Koyama's statement, he does admit that he might be biased towards his own creation.
Of course.
So in my point of view, I'd have to take the guidebooks as the main gateway to the most objective answer. So all in all, my order from strongest to weakest would be Janemba, Broly, Garudagarn, Hachiyak, Metacooler, Android 13, Bojack, Cooler, Lord Slug, Garlic Jr., Turles, and then, in last place, Dr. Wheelo.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you have made it this far, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I wonder if you agreed with my conclusion or not. It really does depend on what information you accept, which is why it's certainly not as straightforward as one might think. I'd also like to give a huge thanks to the homie Zenkai, who helped with checking over translations,
cool.
and the chat Cynthia, who got a hold of some scans for me. So please be sure to check out Zenkai's blog and other stuff in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you thotties next time. Peace out.
Nice. Cool video. I like that. It is difficult though, taking all the movies and stuff, like, you've got to just completely focus on it. But then when the movies mention stuff that happens within the main timeline, it's like, whoa. But that was a fun little video, and yeah, I totally forgot about Janemba until we got near the end there, and I was like, I would definitely put Janemba at the top. So, anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link in the description of the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I support channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. All you guys next time.